Welcome crafters. Here at G45, we're super excited. Today we are going to be creating this gorgeous Tropical Travelogue Traveler's Journal, which is a part of our Club G45 Volume 8 kit. If you don't know about our Club G45 monthly kits, make sure to check out the link below for all the information regarding that. I'm Aimee Filimoehala, and I'm going to be leading you through this gorgeous class. And so what we're going to be learning in the class is lots of fussy cutting, learning how to make some fun little pockets, and learning how to make travel journals, or any journal for that matter, from scratch. And so if you don't have the Tropical Travelogue collection, dig into your G45 stash and you can create it with any of our collections. And so come a little closer and let's get started. All right, so let's get started on our Tropical Travelogue Traveler's Journal. Look how gorgeous this is. We're going to be creating that now, and of course Kathy Clement designed this. So to get started, you're going to want to grab from your own personal stash some black cardstock, and you can use 8.5 by 11 or just whatever you have available that's that size or larger. So you're going to cut down your sheets to 11 inches by 6 1/4 inch. And of course, all of these sizes and everything I'm going over, I am referencing our wonderful color project sheet for volume 8. So make sure you have that handy and you're always referencing those sizes so you don't have to hurry and like jot everything down as I'm saying it via the camera. So grab those 3 pieces of black cardstock and cut those 3 down to 11 inches by 6 1/4 inch. Then you're going to grab your handy dandy scoreboard, and we're going to do a little scoring on those. And the first one you are going to score at 1 1/4. Then you're going to score that same piece at 5 1/2. Then you'll score that same piece at 9 3/4. Then once you have that scored, put that aside. Your second page, you are going to score at 3 inches. Also at 7 inches. And then put that aside. And then the third paper, you are going to score at 4 inches and also at 8 inches. And now I have my score marks ready to go. Put this aside for now. So now you want to grab either a hole punch or a crocodile, and you're going to take those papers and you're going to fold in those 2 flaps for your cover piece, and then fold that on the center. And then on your second paper, you're going to fold in the 3-inch flap and then fold it at the 7 inches. And then that's going to line up with the 3-inch flap going to the left. Then with the third page, you're going to fold that at the 4-inch mark and then also at the 8-inch mark. And then that's going to line up with the 4-inch flap going to the left. So that then when we open up our book like so, we're going to have all these different fun pages to decorate like so. So if that makes any sense. So now from here, I'm going to take those sections that line up there with the score line down the center, and I'm going to grab some paper clips, and I'm going to paper clip these 3 pieces together. I'll do 2 paper clips just to feel secure. And then that is how I'm going to make sure all these flat pieces close in. And then you're going to take your crocodile, and with your big hole, you're just going to go up on that spine as far as you can and punch the hole. And then you'll do the same thing, punch the hole. And then you have your core, the base of your album to go. So now from here, I'm first going to cover, I'm going to first cover the front of my album. And so I want to cut the B side of the signature page of Tropical Travelogue. So the signature page, we're going to be using an 8 1/8 by 6 inches. So you're going to cut this down to 8 1/8 by 6 inches. And then we are going to adhere that onto the front of this cover. So I'm going to actually move my paper clips down to the edges. But I am going to first score this so that that is ready to go. You know, I'm actually not going to score that because it's only an 8 1/8. So I'm just going to center this on here, and then we'll just fold it because I don't want that to be off. So I'm going to take my liquid adhesive, and of course, if you can use any adhesive that you prefer. I just like to use the liquid for video purposes because it's much quicker, and then it can also have a little bit of wiggle room, which is always nice. So I'm going to center that on there, and then just get that, really move that around on there, make sure it's nice and sturdy. Perfect. And I'm gonna reinforce those holes and punch through that cover. So I'll just line up with the previous holes and then cut that. Do the same. Make sure that's lined up. Do the same. All right, so now I have my cover on there and my holes. Now I'm going to create just a really quick, simple binding. So I have some beautiful matching blue, deep sea blue seam binding, and I'm just going to run this through the center of the inside of my binding, and then I'm going to run this through the other hole, and then I have created this really easy, simple ribbon binding that you can just go back anytime and add on more pages if you want to. So it's really nice because this kind of binding gives you a lot of flexibility to add to the project later, or if you want to change out a page or something like that. So we like that. I'm just going to tie this in a bow. All right. Looking good already. Trim those edges. All right, and now I can take off my paper clips. I can fold that in. make sure that my pages, just kind of fold those down. Like, excellent. It's looking beautiful. All right. So there is the base to our album. So from here, we are going to move forward to our number 5 on our project sheet. So now we're going to start with decorating the outside of the album. And so first what you want to do is you are going to grab from this sheet of paper. Let me set that there. So if you have already watched the video where we made the adorable steamer trunk, you know we have pulled some pieces from this paper, and we have previously cut off these border pieces that we're going to actually be using here. But if you haven't done that video, you haven't done that project just yet, you want to grab this Seaside Holiday paper, and you're just going to cut off the 4 borders into 4 individual pieces. So that nice little green and blue border piece that wraps around, just cut that off. And what you're going to be left with, we want to grab 2 of those borders. So we have these 2 border pieces here, and we are going to have these wrap around our album from the front to back. And so I'm just going to quickly ink the edges on these, since I had not done that yet on these pieces. Most of the edges I have previously gone in and inked just to save a little time, but as you're going along in the project, feel free to take time to ink the edges with the nice photogenic ink that comes with your Volume 8 kit. And this is just really nice because since the base of our album is black, as well as our steamer trunk, this black photogenic just really helps finish those edges just perfectly. We like that. So, all right. So now I'm going to line this up with my edge of my paper, just across the bottom, and have that wrap around the back side. Then I'm going to match it up with the back paper and then just trim that. Okay. And then I'm going to adhere that, set that on. I'm going to do the same thing to this guy. And so I just love the little detail and all the Polynesian flair that's going on with this project. All right, doing the same thing, wrapping that around, lining that up, and all right. So now let's glue these down. This collection is just full of color and very vibrant. Definitely one of our more vibrant lines for sure. And you have to love how all of the imagery and everything is just really on point with the styles that you see out, not only within clothing, but just like home decor and everything like that right now. So you could really make a lot of cute home decor projects with this. This would be great for a bathroom or something like that, especially if you have if you're close to some water or something. but that of course is not necessary. So as you can see, that just looks great with that pretty border across the top there. So once you have done that, you're going to grab your signature page, and like if you already did the other project, the steamer trunk, we already cut into one of the signature pages, and so you can grab that one. And we are actually going to be cutting out this lady with the parasol. So we're going to cut this piece out of the lady of the parasol, and so you want to measure it about 4 1/8 inch wide. So you're going to measure that to about 4 1/8 inch wide, and then that's going to fit across the front of our album. So once we have her cut out with the top of the parasol, you want to keep that piece cut out to add that fun angle of her parasol. And then we are going to pop her up on some 3D adhesive. And so then she's just going to sit a little bit higher right there because we love the dimension here. So grab your favorite 3D adhesive. I'm using some 3D tape here, but you can definitely use whatever you prefer. And she's probably one of my favorite, definitely. So this is basically going to get lined up with almost the top of that border. So just going to overhang just a tad, just like so. So then from here, we're going to grab a few pieces from our chipboard. I'm going to grab 3 of these little round flowers. We're going to also grab our Travel's little chipboard piece. And we're going to grab this little button as well. And then while we're grabbing those things, I'm going to grab a couple other pieces from our Island Jewel paper. As you can see here, we're going to fussy cut out a big bunch of flowers and then one individual flower, like I already have done here. I'm going to have those pieces fussy cut out. Then also from my Paradise postage stamps paper, I'm going to cut out 3 stamps that I'm going to use. I'm going to be using 2 right here and then save the others for later. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to ink all of the edges of those things, and then I'm going to add them to the cover of my journal. Also from one of our papers, we have this little beach sign that's from our exotic destination paper. As you can see here, I am just going to cut this piece out, and then in our last video we actually did go in and cut all these pieces out, and that's from this. So I have that extra piece ready to go. So now I'm going to ink all of these edges and get them prepped and ready to adhere to the front of the cover. Okay, so I have prepped a lot of my pieces and I've started putting most of them down, as you can see. So I took out this little square chipboard piece and I inked those edges, and I put a little twine on the top there. And then I also put a little black ribbon on my little button there that's positioned on the bottom right corner of that. And then my fussy cut out flowers, I have those also popped up on some 3D adhesive. And then I also have that one individual little flower popped up down in the right corner. And then my little beach sign is down across the bottom, also on some 3D adhesive. I just have a couple more pieces to the cover that I'm going to add. I have these 3 little flower round chipboard pieces that they're gonna go up in the top right hand corner. So I'm gonna use some of my liquid adhesive and put those just across that top border. Just position those in there just like so. And so when you're putting together your cover, feel free to add or change any of it to your personal preference. So these are just, of course, our suggestions on how we would do it, but we love to see artistic freedom and all those fun little details. I'm gonna add those there. And don't mind the background noise. We're just busy here in the G45 office. That might be some of you calling in now and are emailing. You'll usually probably talk to Dustin or Jeff that are sit behind the and answer your phone calls, so, or your emails whenever you have questions. So you're talking to one of our G45 dudes here at the office. So just adding those little stamps tucked behind there. And as you can see, my cover has come together beautifully. So now we have the outside of our album, our little traveler's notebook, ready to go. So now we're going to move forward and grab some sheets of paper, and we're gonna do some cuts. So I'm gonna be going over a list of cuts, and of course you want to reference your project sheet. We are at step 11 for the cutting the inner pages. So for the beginning of cutting those inner pages, you're going to want to cut 2 sheets of the Exotic Destinations paper, which we're going to be using the B side, and you're going to cut those to 4 inches by 6 1/8 inch. So you're going to have 2 of those. Then we are going to have 1 sheet of 3 7/8 by 6 1/8. So all of these papers are all going to be 3 7/8 by 6 1/8. So one of the Oceania, one of the Rainforest, the B side, one of the Garden Isles, and 3 of the Tiki Voyager stripe, 2 of Hibiscus Heaven, looks like this. So that's everything as far as for the 3 7/8 by 6 1/8. So now to the next size, we're going to have, this size is 2 inches by 7 1/8 by 6 1/8. So first you're going to have a Garden Isle, like so. Also you're going to have a Rainforest. And also you're going to have Postage, or Paradise Postage. And we're going to use one of the A side and one of the B side. So we have those pieces. Then the next cuts, we're gonna have, the cut is 1 1/8 by 6 1/8. And here we're gonna be using the Oceania, and you want 2 of those, and we're gonna be using the B side. So if you want to reference that step 11 on your project sheet and make those cuts, once you have those cuts, we can move forward to the covering those inside pages of our gorgeous traveler's journal. All right, so let's get going on covering that inside of the album. So what we're gonna do here first, we're gonna open up our album, have the paper ready for us. And for step 12 and 13 in your project sheet, you want to first reference that. So we're gonna grab our Exotic Destination paper, and that's just gonna go adhered to the front center piece, as well as the as well as, so I'm just gonna glue that down first. Exotic Destinations with the B side face up. All right. And just center that on that big flap. Then we are going to make a little pocket out of our album. And so what I want to do is grab some of my tape. I'm just going to adhere down these two sides of the flap. So grab some tape. And some scissors. Just gonna, all right. Once I have my tape on those two ends, you can pull that off and create your first little pocket, like you can see. So we have our pocket there. Now I'm going to glue down the flap, this little blue Oceana piece. So the Oceana is the 1 1/8 by 6 1/8 that you should have just cut out. We're going to be highlighting the B side of that paper. That nice edge that's finished there. Then I'm going to grab one of my little postage stamps and ink those edges, and then I'm going to put that down halfway on to that flap. So I'm not putting adhesive all the way across the back, just on half, so that then that can actually hang off of that little pocket, like a little tab, and a really cute little accent piece. Then from my Botanica paper, I've cut one of those columns of the 3 adorable little botanical like birds with the flamingos, and then I've just accordion folded and then just kind of cut those, notched those edges so it has a nice rounded edge feature, and that's going to get tucked in that pocket, as well as I've grabbed my destination sticker here from my sticker page, my 12 by 12 sticker, that big destination, and I have backed it on some black cardstock, and that's just a little ticket that's also gonna go, just get tucked in my little pocket. So then we have that side covered and ready to go. Next, I wanna grab, we're on now steps 15. So you wanna start on step 15. So your next is you're gonna grab this little fish, little guys, and then where they come from is on the signature page of the Tropical Travelogue. You can see down in the bottom corner that we've just cut those out, those 3 fish. So now we're gonna take the pocket, this little fish guy, and we're gonna make a pocket. So go around the 2 sides and across the bottom and score 1/2 inch. So grab my little scorer. So at 1/2 inch on the sides. And 1/2 inch across the bottom. Okay. Done that, I can set this aside. And what we're creating, as you can see on the back of that little flap, is a pocket. So I'm just going to cut out those corners of that, so when we fold this paper, it folds nice and and easy. So fold those up like so. So I need to score, and I need to score my lady on the edge at 1/2 inch as well. So my waves, and this comes from our paper that looks like this, where we've gone in and we cut out all of these different pieces that we're going to be using throughout. And this is your Seaside holiday paper. So that's where I got this lady, and where it says waves on the bottom. And so how this is going to work is we're going to actually center this behind this, and so then it's going to operate as a little flap, and then we'll glue that down to the page. You see, I'm going to use some adhere. All right, I want to center this on here. Maybe weight it a little bit. Okay. And then I'm going to glue this whole piece onto the inside of this page. Just center it on there. All right. Just rub that down really nicely. Okay. As you can see, it created that super cute flap. Now I'm going to put my little pocket on there with my little fish guys. And so for this, I'm going to actually use some of this tape so it won't be so messy. Tape across the sides there. And the fun thing about this travel journal is we're learning so many cool techniques on creating flaps and pockets. So a lot of things that you can incorporate in just all of your crafting, not just making minis, but cards and even layouts. You could do some really cute things. Take some of these great ideas. And I'm getting to the point in the project where my hands are just so sticky. It's when you know it's been a good day at the office. I'll take it. Okay, so I'm just going to put this across the bottom of this. All right. So then we have that little pocket, and in the pocket I've got another one of my stickers, the little tag sticker, luggage tag, and that just can go slip right in there like so. While I'm at it, I'm just going to grab my tropical word sticker, and I'm going to put that across the top here, add a little detail, which is nice. And voila. Now let's move on to the next papers, the next pages. So now we are on steps 20 and 21 of the project sheet. So you can reference the project sheet for more details. So we're going to, before we adhere down our first piece of the B side of the rainforest, you can see we have our little tropical Travelogue sticker down there on the bottom. So I'm going to grab that from my sticker sheet, and then I'm just going to put this around the bottom about 2/3 of the way up on the sticker. And then I'm just going to fold that remaining excess of the sticker just around the back side. So voila. Now I'm just going to adhere these pieces down. Super easy. But I love this like sequence of these papers coming together. So pretty. So yeah, on these pages, it'd be really nice photo mats to add pictures of a vacation or just something. This tropical travelogue, where does it inspire you? All right. Put that adhesive down there, and I have already pre-inked all these edges, so we're just cruising along. And then we're going to have our lovely A side of our rainforest on this flap. And this flap is actually going to open, so you're going to be able to see that gorgeous detail. On the outside, we have this garden aisle, super colorful paper showing. So we'll put that down. All right. So those are just good to go. We're just going to add this little ticket detail that is adds that little tab. So I'm grabbing my tropical and also my adventure. It doesn't really matter though, but we'll stick with these two. So I'm just going to have that go up maybe a ½ inch or so across the bottom. Just make sure I've got it straight. All right, looks good. Then I just want to line this other piece up to that back side. And then just like that, I've got a cute little tab. So, all right. So looking good. So now moving to the next pages, you're gonna go and you're gonna grab and you're going to reference steps 22 to 26 on these ones. And so first, what we're gonna do is we're gonna glue down your Tiki Voyager pages. And just make sure. Okay, I'm gonna glue these down there. And as you can see with the ribbon, we are in the center of our book. And we're gonna use that spine for a cute little add-on. We're gonna add a little extra flair in there using that ribbon. So just adhere those down there. Actually, I skipped a step. All right, so I kind of skipped ahead on a step. I tend to do this sometimes. So I'm creating a couple more flaps, and so I need to tuck those in behind the edges of those papers. So don't glue those down just yet. So first we're gonna take our Paradise and we're going to create a flap at a ½ inch on the edge of that. And then we're gonna do that also on the Escape. Okay, so I have those created. Take my Paradise, put a little glue, and I pulled up the edge of the side of this so that I could still put this down there. So I'm just going to center that behind here. And then just glue that down like so. Okay. Oops. It's not staying back there quite yet. Needs to dry. All right. Crafting. All right. There we go. Got my paradise flap there. I'm going to add my escape girl over on this side. So I'm going to add some adhesive back behind the top of this Tiki Voyager. Just center that on there as well. Just want to have her nicely. Now I have those two flaps created. There. Add a little ink here. That's the thing that's nice about the ink, is it helps cover up little boo-boos. So I've got those pieces added. So now I'm going to pull out the piece here that is a center one. It's going to be our center flap, and it's a visa page from the Exotic Destinations. And so we do need to chop this down a little bit to 3 3/4 so it can fit through there, because it's just a little bit too tall. So I'm going to cut this down to 3 3/4. But all right. I want my edges still rounded, so I'm going to grab my corner rounder. Just edges. All right. So then we have this little passport piece that's going to go in the center there. Perfect. And then I'm going to grab these two paradise stickers down on the bottom. I'm going to create a little tab on my passport. So just center that on there. And then line up the other sticker on the other side. And we've got a cute little tag there. And then I'm also going to add this fun little sticker with the flower on it inside here, where you could do some journaling or whatnot. So now you see I have my flap here, cute little passport insert there, as well as a flap here. So there we have those pages. Now we'll move on to the next section. All right, so our next section, we're going to be on step 27 to start out. And step 27, so we have our hibiscus heaven paper, and that's just going to get glued down like so, one with the A side up and then the next one over the B side. And then the flap on the inside is going to be the B side of Paradise Postage. So we'll adhere those pieces down, and I've inked my edges already. I like this color. This definitely reminds me of Hawaii. This color for sure, and beautiful Hawaiian flowers. All right. And on the edge of this left edge, I'm keeping that open because I'm going to be actually creating a little flap here that could hold something behind there. And all right. So I'm going to grab my little postage stamp girl. I actually want the frame too. So I want my little postage stamp girl, and I'm going to back this up on just some of my loose paper I have here available. And you could do this on cardstock, like a black cardstock too, if you had that available. But I'm just putting it on the edge of this paper because I've got it handy. And I'm just doing that so that the sticker of the doesn't stick to anything. So I've just backed up my sticker, some loose paper there. All right. Now I'm going to okay, and so we're going to be creating a little tab using the sticker, and we're going to be utilizing the same kind of technique that we've been using where we have that 1/2 inch on the side where we're going to tuck it underneath the paper to create that flap. And so since the sticker, we don't want it to be sticking all over things, I'm sticking it to some black cardstock, and then I can just trim around the black cardstock. As you can see on the left-hand side where the flap is going to be created, I have left that 1/2 inch. So cut that out. So now I'm going to take this piece and I'm just going to tuck it behind the side of that, and I left that edge open so we could create this little flap. So I'm just going to put some adhesive back there to seal that in. Alright, so I'm just going to pinch that down and let that dry. That'll just be a nice little feature there. Then we want to adhere the postage stamps to the outside of this flap with the postage stamps exposed. I'll glue those down, and then we are going to be creating another little tab with the little office tabs. So, all right. So in the top left-hand corner, there are these two like folder tabs. So you're gonna grab those, and these are just, this is just gonna go up at the top of your flap, and then line them up. Sometimes might take more than once. So you want to put that on there. And just line those up like so. All right, so then we have our cute little flap like that, and then we are now down to our last page. So we're going to be creating another flap here, and then just our back little pocket, just like the front. So I'm gonna grab my pieces for starting at step 30, I think we are. So first things first is we're gonna take our little Aloha girl, and we are going to score this on the side at the, I'm gonna actually do, since my carefree, I don't wanna cut that off. I can't do a 1/2 inch, so I might have to do only 1/4 of an inch. And sometimes you might have to do that in order to not cut off like a certain word or something, like what we're going to do here. So we want to have the print showing there. So, and since my tab on this one is really thin, I'm going to actually use some tape because that will give it a little bit more stability than our liquid. And put that. All right. So then I have my flap there. And put some adhesive on the back of this. And just this little simple, these simple black papers, we've created this really fun, gorgeous album by decorating it with our beautiful tropical Travelogue papers and just adding all these fun little pockets and different features to it. So on this other side, we are making a little pocket using this tropical Travelogue sticker. So I'm going to grab my paper here, my black paper, and what I need to do is I want to grab that sticker and I want to make sure when I put this down that I leave about around the edges on the sides and also across the bottom about that 1/2 inch border. And then when I cut it out on the edges and the sides, I want to leave that 1/2 inch border because we're going to be wrapping those edges around so we can create a pocket on the back of our flap. So kind of like that fish technique that the little fish pocket we created earlier. We're going to be doing the same thing. So I've just taken this sticker, and so now I'm going to take my little scorer and I'm going to just go up against the line of the sticker, and then on the bottom across that, and then on the side, then I'll have the ability to fold those back and then across the bottom. But I just want to cut out those corner pieces to make it easier to fold. So since we've already done this, you should be a master. So now we have those pieces to create our pocket. Just want to trim the extra chipboard so you can't see it, or cardstock. It's looking great. So now I'm just going to put adhesive across the sides and the bottom, and then I'm going to have my little pocket for the back of my flap. So And with how small the edges are on this, it might be nice to have a thinner score tape if you have one that's not as wide as what I'm using. It's probably would be nice to have something closer to like 1/4 of an inch or something like that. Score tape. All right. So now I'm going to center that across the bottom. Perfect. And then I have my final little accordion, or it's actually just the 2 piece of my exotic or Botanica, and that goes in the little pocket there. Like that. It's folded over. And I'm going to glue down this paper with it, making sure it's right side up. It's my Exotic Destinations paper with the B side featured. Just centering that on there. And then I'm going to create another little pocket like we did on the front flap. And that's just putting a little bit of score tape across the bottom. Do that the same to the top. All right. And then I'm going to take the B side of my Oceana paper, and then that's going to get glued on that flap. Some extra pieces around. And then I have a couple more, another little card book from Botanica, and that gets tucked in there. And then a couple more stickers, and we are so close. I'm gonna add my 2 ladies, and also this border piece. And I'll put 1 lady at the top and 1 at the bottom. And then I will center the border in the center there between the 2 of them. And there we have it. A gorgeous traveler's journal featuring our very colorful tropical travelogue. Lots of fun pockets and pages. So thanks so much for coming on this journey with me. If you haven't done our adorable steamer trunk that this actually resides in, be sure to check out the video with the link below on the instructions on how to do this, because then your, of course, cute little traveler's journal has a perfect place to reside. Thanks so much for joining me. Bye.